Welcome to Not Your Average Cinema. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we are reacting to the Royal Rumble 2025. And yeah, you can go back if you want to check out our predictions episode. Now, those are, well, you can see how well we did in our predictions.
Yes.
Because we predicted not only like winners, but some other additional things surrounding the Royal Rumbles at least. And then just kind of took some random numbers and some of those ended up better than others, I would say. And as usual, mine ended up being a bunch of goons entering the Royal Rumble, it seemed like. But
Yes. But yeah, only four matches. So this will probably be a pretty quick review to this one. Starting off with the Women's Royal Rumble. What was your reaction to the Women's Royal Rumble?
I thought overall it was pretty good. I think it started off with what was it? Io, Liv, and Roxanne. I think were like the first three, I believe, or
Yep.
right there at the beginning. And I think that was a good way to start it off. And they kind of lasted throughout a good chunk of the match, I would say. And overall, I mean, I don't know that I have any spots that I overly remember from it. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so outside of like one towards the end, I guess there will be spoilers here.
Yeah.
Probably,
So
if you're
huge
watching this, you
spoilers.
probably already know what
Yeah.
happened, and
I mean, we have the
this already
winner
gives it away here.
right on the screen.
But yeah, at the point in the match, we've got the ring pretty loaded with a lot of women, and Nia Jax is in there, and she supposedly eliminates all these people, even though when you like look at the replay, you could argue maybe they like eliminated each other, some of them and stuff, but they count it all as Nia Jax eliminations just to build up a number and try to keep pushing her, even though I don't think it works at all. I don't know how many Nia Jax fans there are, but I don't know that it's too many.
Yeah. Yeah. They say she's
And
getting
then,
better, but it's hard to give her a chance. There's so many people I like more, but.
yeah, but then it was. I mean, I think after that it became pretty obvious who was going to win, and yeah, I was just hopeful that maybe they were going to do a little swerve, which they may have eventually done in the night, but they did not do it in the women's match. And Charlotte Flair ended up winning. I think we both had predicted her to win, right? We
I
both predict.
predicted Io Sky to win.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think if you were actually putting money on it, you maybe would have picked old Charlotte. Maybe.
I still think Io's going to WrestleMania, so I would have
Hmm.
thought the smart thing to do would be give this to the young up and comer. But yeah, I was going Io all the way. I didn't
Yeah.
think Charlotte needed this one. That kind of gives my
I don't think
thoughts
she needed it.
on the match. But I guess if they want anyone to be the first two-time Women's Rumble winner, I guess Charlotte is. It's probably either Charlotte or Bianca Belair were the two names that I would think they would give that to. And since she's coming back from an injury, was gone for over a year, must have been a really nasty injury. I'm willing to give this one a little more of a chance. And I think it helped that we knew she was coming back. Usually, if an announced return wins, I think that's pretty stupid. But since it's someone that we tend to dislike, to have time to prepare for her possibly winning, I think was actually a good thing. But still,
Probably.
it's not someone I get excited for. I think the winner alone keeps it from being one of my favorite Rumbles because I think to be one of my all-time favorite Rumbles, it does need to have that big reaction at the end for someone that I just truly am cheering for. And I think, like you said, most of the match was good. I don't remember any specific spots, but just the amount of talent on display from the current roster as well as the future roster with the amount of awesome NXT stars there on the showcase. And I mean, it's totally different from the early women's rumbles where it was all half of them were legends, and I just
That's
felt
true.
like they weren't quite ready to have a 30 woman rumble. They're ready now.
Yeah, that's true.
I,
It does. It did feel like that, and like even some of the people that maybe even a couple of years ago wouldn't have been. Like I feel like a Chelsea Green and who's the one in Alpha Academy again? But
oh,
sometimes I get their names all confused.
Maxine Dupree.
Maxine Dupree. Yep. Like I felt like they did pretty good. They had their moments in it, and I feel like a couple of years ago they probably would have been a little bit greener. Uh,
Yeah.
I still don't know that they're quite. to that top level yet, but I think they're getting there more than they were, and that's good to see that you have some of these new people because I think we had maybe discussed it, or at least I had felt this way, like the Charlottes and the Beckys and the Baileys. Uh, I'm personally kind of over like all of
Yeah.
them being kind of in that title picture, so it is nice to see that. I think the only thing before was you like looked at them and then you see the rest of the roster and it was like a pretty significant drop off.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't know though. I'd kind of rather it stay at the top, but now yeah, I feel like they're pretty loaded with some talent. And who did we? I think the returns, bigger ones, were like Alexa Bliss, Trish Stratus. Even though I feel like she shows up at everyone, so
Yeah.
I don't know that it's really that shocking. It
Yeah.
feels like she's in every single one, but I could be wrong. And then Nikki Bella, but I think Alexa's probably the only one that's going to return to in-ring
Um,
competition on a
there's there's
regular basis.
I think there's rumors that Nikki actually is going to do something more. So that has me more excited. Where if it was just a one-time thing, I'd be like, what a waste for number 30. But if she is going to be possibly having a WrestleMania match, even if that's all she's just building towards,
Yeah,
then it gets a thumbs up for me. If she's actually going to be back
that's true.
wrestling. But yeah, Alexa is the biggest one. I mean, it's nothing compared to Edge and Edge's return, but like there's a bit of
Right.
emotion for me for Alexa. She's been gone for so long, and obviously the
Yeah, she's been gone
connection
for a
to
while.
Bray Wyatt, and now he's passed sadly, and seen kind of a little bit of tribute to that. I don't know if she's going to continue with that kind of character or not. I hope not, actually, because then
Yeah,
supernatural stuff is just so hard to do right. But happy she's back.
yeah. I'm happy too, and hopefully that'll work too. Yeah, sometime I feel like her last run. I think because she was kind of involved in that, it started not. I don't know. It just
Yeah,
wasn't working for me either.
yeah.
I think at the beginning it kind of was, and then I don't know. I don't know, trying to do it. They kind of separated her from the Fiend, but she was still doing that, and it didn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, it
So
just felt like they
hopefully she'll
never
kind of be
really
back.
went all in on any of it, too. Like they tease it and then just never go anywhere with it. Uh, but
Right.
yeah, you mentioned the spot with Nia Jackson. I don't think you mentioned it enough. This is maybe the worst Royal Rumble spot that I can remember. You have It's a terrible time to do it and terrible people that Nia eliminates. Nia eliminates all at once, and you go from like 9 to 3 people or 10 to 4. And I'm like, that's not when you should do it. You shouldn't just, oh, and now we're down to just 3 people. And the only three, other than Charlotte, that actually had a chance to win were all eliminated in one fell swoop. Not a
Right.
focus or moment for any of them. That's right when the Rumble, when it gets down to those final 10, that's when each elimination should get its spotlight. It should just feel intense and you should have a lot of drama. And it really took the wind out of the sails for me. So,
Yeah, I 100% agree.
uh,
And yeah, that probably hurt it from being anything more than kind of a good match, not
yeah.
great necessarily.
Yeah. But still, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And then we move
Then
on
we get to the
to,
forgettable match. Well, probably the forgettable match of the night. It wasn't a bad match. It just in a Royal Rumble night. It just especially with the other championship match. We'll get to that one
yeah,
being uh, a classic, I would say. This one, it was fine, but it kind of, from my understanding, these two have faced off before and kind of each have like a win or whatever. And then did they have like a non-finish kind of thing? So
I
then we're having
think
a
so.
2 out of 3 falls to kind of eliminate that from happening. And then you kind of end this match by doing that same thing, not finishing. And I'm totally for. So yeah, they retained via DQ with the Street Profits
Mm,
returning, coming back, and beating both teams up. Originally, just
yeah,
beating up the Motor City Machine Guns, and then also beating up DIY. So makes me think it could end up leading to maybe like some sort of triple threat match. Which I guess if it, maybe they're gonna do like some ladder match or
yeah,
something. That could be pretty good, I think, with those three teams. But yeah, otherwise it is fine. I did like the spot where and maybe they have been doing this, and I just haven't been watching SmackDown as much recently. I like the spot where he fake tagged in to make it
Oh.
seem like to the other team that he had gotten the tag, but he didn't really. Tommaso Ciampa didn't really get tagged, and then Johnny came in as if he had gotten tagged, but he didn't really. I
Yeah.
did like that spot.
Yeah, that was a really cool spot, and I think heard someone shout it out that the bar had done that before. I don't
Hmm.
remember them doing that. This is the
I
first
don't
time that
remember that
I'm
either.
seeing it. That was really clever, and I think that was my favorite part of the match was just seeing the new heel tactics from
Yeah.
this new heel DIY. And obviously these two tag teams, they're four phenomenal wrestlers. There's a lot of great spots in here, but it's just overshadowed by the other matches on the night. I don't feel like it quite went to as great of a match as they could do, and obviously isn't the final chapter because of the shenanigans at the end. So, a good match for just watching on the alone if you want to see some good talent. But story-wise, this is going to be totally forgotten by me at least.
Mhm. Yeah, by me for sure. Yeah, then we get into based on results only, and we'll see. Maybe I will be totally wrong after WrestleMania when we see what happens with the storyline with the winner of the Royal Rumble. But I think this one's the match of the night. I think this is an instant classic. KO loves to put on instant classics at Royal Rumble, but never win the belt. I think they had mentioned that this was his. I think he had the most championship matches or championship opportunities at Royal Rumble or something like that. I think they said he had the most, which doesn't surprise me because when I think of Royal Rumble, I think of KO is going for a championship and never winning. Uh, so, but this one was a ladder match, and if they do a ladder match with those three teams, it's going to be hard to outdo this match for best ladder match of the year, I think, because they really went to war on each other, and this could potentially, I don't know, this could potentially be the start of a Cody Rhodes kind of heelish
Yeah.
turn, I think, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, we definitely saw a darker side of Cody with the amount of spots that they went through. Both of them, Cody, like there's so many spots in here where it just causes a reaction to your body. You're like, oh my goodness, landing on their spine on these ladders and all like 20 unique ways. I didn't know there were that many ways you could nearly die landing on a ladder, but they found every single one. And Cody going to tactics that you usually don't see him. He's the good guy. He doesn't try to end his opponent's life like he was in this match. It is crazy, but that's what it had to be. That's what this rivalry has turned into. That's what Kevin Owens has brought out of him. And I thought they delivered everything that they had to with this match. A lot of times, ladder matches, like it'll be an intense rivalry going into it, and then once you get to the match, it's just a goofy, oh, try to climb up the ladder, knock the opponent down, run up there, and go really slowly and reach when obviously you're not going to grab the title. A bunch of those stupid spots. This had like maybe one or two of those spots where they try to get the belt before actually the match ends. It was all focused on take out your opponent. And I thought that was the right direction for sure. Classic.
Right. Yeah, they were treating it more like an Extreme Rules match, it felt like, than a
Yeah.
ladder match, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had written down here they must have also said it had been 8 years since Owen was champ. And I couldn't believe it had been that long. I mean, it makes sense
Yeah.
because like Brock and Roman have had the titles for between the two of them, it seems like forever. So it doesn't really surprise me, but at the same time, I'm like, he needs to get that belt on him. And
He does.
not the other guy that came into this match who I have this horrible feeling that they're going to put the belt on based on what they did in the main event here at the Royal Rumble. Uh, well, not based on what his performance was in that match, but just based on who they let win. I think this other guy, Sami Zayn, showing up to, oh, is he going to interfere in this match? And then he doesn't do anything. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna lead to that. I could see that's where maybe Cody would, turn into maybe more heelish.
Yeah.
Kevin's more heelish, so then Sammy's like this voice of reason between the two of them, and maybe like some triple threat match at WrestleMania or something. And
Oh, yeah.
I could see him putting the belt on Sammy, and I am not here for it. I am
Uh,
not here
They they ain't doing that. They ain't doing that. Don't you?
Okay.
He'll probably get it at one point, but he'll lose it as quick as he lost the Intercontinental. Don't you worry. But I liked having
Uh,
Sammy out there. That was kind of cool. He didn't make a choice, but I think that's probably the best way to do it. Just reacting and maybe taking it in, and probably take maybe a month or two to actually set in where he falls on this argument. Or you think he should
I don't
have
know.
attacked Cody after he uh, took out KO?
I was because of Cody. I don't know. At the very end, when Cody did win, after he so Cody Alabama slammed Kevin through a ladder. I think that was it was quite the spot. If you're not going to watch the whole match, I would recommend go looking up just like the that or the highlights. I think it's pretty brutal looking move. But I think after he did that, and then he was going up and went onto the ladder, he like got all the way to the top of the ladder, and then was like adjusting himself even more on the top of the ladder. I'm like, is he waiting for Kevin to do something?
Oh,
I
okay.
thought, well, maybe Sammy was going to jump in and do something to him. But yeah, I feel like he should have did something there, but
Yeah, he could have.
obviously we watched Monday Night Raw the next night, and we saw where they were headed now with that. And part of me is like, if it just ends up being just those two, I don't know that I love that either.
Yeah.
So we will see.
Yeah, we'll have to make a video on our WrestleMania predictions, where we think everything is going, because this one is pretty unpredictable.
No,
I have
I would
no
agree.
clue where those three guys are going.
No, but
Um,
I would say that I give that like a four
I
and a half star for match.
yeah, that inspired me to, okay, we should keep track of best matches of the year. That's the first one that I've written down in the list, because that was pretty amazing.
Mhm.
But you mentioned the men's Royal Rumble, the main event. As you can see here, Jey Uso won by last eliminating John Cena, which of course is the final two that we all knew was going to happen. Okay,
Yes.
not many people were bold enough to say that. But I did predict Jay in my final four. So you can go check that video, see who else I had in my final four. But I just had an itch. Like they randomly give Jey Uso things. So this was not too shocking for me because I know when they pulled the trigger for him with the Intercontinental Championship, it just felt the same way. It's like he's got a slight chance, but that's never gonna happen. And then it happens. And I was getting those same murmurs, those same feelings going into this, but I'm like, surely they're not gonna. This isn't just a Royal Rumble. This is a main event at WrestleMania. They're not gonna do that, but. By God, they did. And I guess winner reaction. Do you think that is the right winner?
I don't know. I guess we watched Raw and he was very emotional about it. So
It's hard to hate him
maybe,
for that.
maybe he can do it. I don't know. I just he's gonna have to step up because old half star WrestleMania match last year. If he does another performance like that, that's if it he has another bad WrestleMania match, I think that's going to be a brutal blow. I think for his continued singles success. I think
Do you think the 3-year-olds that love this guy, do you think they care whether he has a 5-star classic? They don't care about that. They just want to see him
that's true.
hold that belt.
That
Uh,
is true.
this is like,
And speaking of those 3 year olds that cheer and stuff, that's why I thought he was going to start the match, and I thought Penta because he's a new guy. I was half right with
yeah,
that, like half star. But then because I said, well, they've built up this entrance of his, and they're gonna want to have that 2 minute entrance at Royal Rumble, and then you're like, well, unless he wins. And the second you said that, I got that same feeling in my gut that I'm like, oh God, Pepper's right. So when he wasn't in the first two, I was like, I feel like my thoughts of him winning went up dramatically once he was not in the first two. Uh, but yeah, because I, I tend to look at the odds because I'm always interested in what Vegas has to say. Like a few days before, I didn't look at it the day of. Maybe the odds might have swung heavily towards Jay and pointed that he was going to win. But I feel like I looked 2 or 3 days before, and he was like 66 to 1, and I was like, that's I thought that was reasonable odds because, like you said, I mean, it wasn't like he couldn't win it. It's
yeah,
not like it was like a complete out of nowhere shock. In a
yeah.
way, it is. In a way, it wasn't.
Yeah, but
Uh,
he didn't have anything really built up to have a main event at WrestleMania with current champions, at least. I mean, maybe a little bit with Gunther, but there were so many other options. And as we'll go into in the match, just the amount of top star aura in the ring at certain points in here, it there were so many options. So I don't even know what the right option would be. Jey Uso's just one of the more questionable ones, I would say, but I'm happy for him. I don't despise him. No, you do not despise him, but he's definitely not your cup of tea. I
Yeah,
enjoy him. I have fun watching him, so I'm okay with the win. There's just so many others. I think it's okay because I feel like everyone else is going to be taken care of. It's not like they're not going to get their chance
that's
now.
my
And
real worry, actually.
that's
I
your
don't
worry.
know.
You don't think they're taken care of.
I don't know if they're gonna have the best matchups. We'll see. Just because one of the matchups, we'll get to it in the Royal Rumble. That could be a potential match at WrestleMania. It's like I like the people in it, but I don't know about it being a match.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, it started with Ray and Penta, and about 30 seconds in, Penta obviously touched both his feet on the ground, and we pretended he didn't, even though we showed a couple replays, which both made it more obvious, it seemed like. Don't know why they went back to it. I feel like they did it twice. I'm like, maybe don't keep showing it, because every time I look at it, it looks more obvious that his feet touched the ground. Um,
Oops.
but but yeah, I obviously if you watch the whole thing, he lasted like 30, 40 minutes, so they couldn't really just have him be eliminated. It was maybe enough that it wasn't like obvious. It wasn't like he was like
Yeah.
standing up only on the ground, not hanging out of the ropes at
Yeah,
all
and
or
we could
anything.
accept it as these are sports referees. Sometimes they don't see it right, and there's no
Right.
challenge flag here.
Right. But yeah, for being those two, like you thought, oh, it was going to be a crazy start. I feel like they were kind of botchy. For some
Yeah.
reason, to me, their styles did not seem to work. But then we got old Chad to come in at number three to save the day because he's afraid of these luchadors. And then they kind of just filled the ring with more of like that level of talent.
Yeah.
And I was just waiting for kind of that first Drew McIntyre or Jacob Fatu or who had ended up being Braun Breaker. I was waiting for that person to come in and just pretty much eliminate almost all of them. And that is what kind of happened. I feel like he didn't eliminate enough of them, in my opinion,
No, he
but
didn't make a huge impact there, but he did have a really nice moment.
I
Of
loved his
like,
entrance and I loved the camera angle,
oh
personally,
yeah, yeah.
where
I
he's
feel like
running into the ring and the camera, like, was the shot that I don't know that they used for anyone else entering right into a spear, and it was pretty solid, I thought.
yeah, they've gotten really good at some of their camera angles and their cinematography. I think in kind of the last year or so. Pretty much ever since The Rock came back, they've been like, okay, we need to capture this man in the coolest way possible, and I feel like they do a lot of those. You wouldn't think Royal Rumble and WWE would be like, oh, you remember these shots with the camera, but there's a few in this Rumble that I remember, and that's one of them that was just really well done, and it just elevates the product in a way you didn't think that it could be elevated. But yeah, then I guess I'll move on to the comedic spot. So Braun's in there and he takes out a bunch of people. You've got some, I think Otis he eliminated, or he's
Carmelo
going to
Hayes.
eliminate. Going to. What was that?
Carmelo
Oh,
Hayes.
Carmelo Hayes. Yeah, I think Carmelo could have gotten a little longer in the Rumble, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some great matches, so. I don't know what that was about. Maybe it was a bad boy backstage, and they're like, "No, you're getting out first." So,
Yeah, he's on SmackDown too, and I feel like I haven't been watching SmackDown. And from what I had seen of him previously, I personally don't love his character, don't love it, but um, from what I've heard, he at least puts on really good matches, so can't deny that.
yeah. And then one of your numbers that you drafted was number 9, I believe it was, and it is Akira Tozawa. So you're thinking initially, oh no, a terrible pick. This guy only has like a 20% chance of winning the Rumble for me. But to your luck, he gets attacked. Forget who even attacked him.
Carmelo, that's
Carmelo
why.
attacks him. Okay, yes, of course. So Carmelo attacks him. Oh no, is that setting up a rivalry? Oh, I hope not.
Oh,
But
it
then,
is.
but then WrestleMania match. Akira gets taken backstage, helped back there, just plop down on a chair. Like that's what they do with the people. Just throw him down in Triple H's chair there and just let him just sit there. And Triple H just hilariously, like, this is how they solve their problems. He's like, oh, who's going to enter the Rumble? Who's going to be number nine? And he looks over and sees, what is it? I show Speed. Like, Speed, you're in the Rumble. Go out there. And he's like, what? What? I can't do this. Then, of course, they immediately have video and music for him to enter. And he runs down to the ring. And once they went backstage, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. Because they'd made a big deal about him kind of live streaming at the event backstage. Uh, and he enters in there. And I think this was one of the highlights of the whole night. He goes over, helps Braun Breaker flip Otis over the top rope, and then he starts showboating. He does a backflip in the middle of the ring, which is very impressive. Just a standing backflip. And Braun Breaker's like, oh, yeah, yeah, clap. And then he starts running back and forth between the ropes, gaining speed behind Speed's back. And he delivers the most devastating spear I have ever seen in my entire life to Speed, and I'm like, oh, this is the second killing tonight, right after Kevin Owens. This was, I don't know, maybe my favorite spear that I've ever seen. I only imagine he told him behind stage, "How do you want me to hit you, Speed?" And then he said, "Just hit me with the most speed, the most devastation, the most impact you possibly can. I don't care if you break every bone in my body."
Yeah, it really did not seem like he was laying off at all. It seemed like he gave him the full experience. I'm pretty sure he probably had. I mean, I don't know about injured, but I'm sure that did not feel great.
No, I don't think that was very smooth. I think is he the same one that Randy Orton kicked around at WrestleMania in the
I think
Prime
so.
bottle? I think it is. So then he tosses him out, and Otis catches him and then throws him insult to injury over onto the announce table. And I'm like, oh, this man is willing to do anything for these spots. I think we got to keep him coming back.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good overall. Um, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do bring him for any more spots. Because especially with WrestleMania coming up, could definitely see him being involved in something.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, what else did we have? Was Braun kind of the next person that came up? No, 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 no.
No,
Didn't. Oh
Braun
yeah,
killed him.
yeah. Braun comes out, right?
Oh, Braun Strowman?
Braun Strowman.
Oh yeah, it might have been because if Fatu was in there, then and then it would be Braun Strowman. I guess here is the entrance is here. I guess a little while.
Oh, Sheamus.
Sheamus, that's what it was. Sheamus, Jimmy Uso, Andrade, just more people that just put on
Oh
bangers.
yeah.
It's not just Sheamus. I think that's the kind of thing for the first half of this Rumble is just amazing in-ring talent. Whether they're used well and their character's good, that's to be debated. But just a stacked roster of talent, even though they aren't the big names. And then I think kind of in the back half here, you get the surprise entry from Joe Hendry, which is really nice to see. I didn't know he was so strong. Like he's doing moves here, lifting people up. I'm like, oh, he's like a big John Cena lift the 400-pound guy kind of character. I did not know that. Um, but then we get the big names: Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor. No, okay, maybe not Finn
With new
Balor.
entrance music.
He did. Oh,
One of the worst songs I've ever heard as
I
a
mean,
theme. It
it
is just
is.
awful. It
It
is
is.
horrible.
I like this older theme, and I even like this new post Judgment Day kind of standalone theme. I thought it was all right, but this new theme, I hate. Um,
Hey, I don't know where they're getting these, but almost none of there's just a couple, but most of the new ones are just terrible.
I think they
It
got
seems like.
rid of whatever company has been making their title their themes, so hopefully they start to get better here pretty soon. But yeah, as you can see, the big names, you got Jey Uso, AJ Styles returning from injury, which we thought
Got
that
his theme back.
he got his theme back. Yes, his old theme, his redneck theme. I really love that theme. It's one of my favorites, especially for being kind of like a rap adjacent type of vibe to it. Is something I don't usually like for these themes, but this one's really good. So yeah, AJ, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. It just was banger entrance after banger entrance. And the ring was the most stacked that I'd ever seen it in a Rumble. And you're like, any of these guys could win, and I could be happy. And you were like, any of these guys could win except Jey Uso, and I could be happy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't feel like I remember a Rumble ever where it was just like, oh my gosh, like banger after banger after banger entrant, and I yeah, I don't know. I've
Like, yeah,
it made the match feel so big.
it did.
I
It
think,
did.
and uh, I think it unfortunately, you know, I know my feelings about Jey Uso, old half star, and I think it kind of hurt when you had that much talent. Not that he isn't talented, but I I just still don't feel like even with the fans behind him, I don't know that they even really feel that he's necessarily main event Jey Uso or quite as big as these a lot of these other names, and it just I don't know. I think
Yeah,
that's what made it a little difficult to accept it at first, but
yeah. That,
maybe with a couple months of build here, it'll be
yeah, I
a little
think they,
different. But just at the time, I think seeing all these people just banger pick after banger pick here, and then at the end, it's like, don't know what I think about that because I mean, even with the names around him like Shinsuke and AJ, who haven't really been necessarily there, like to me, those both, well, maybe not Shinsuke. I guess it's been a while, but AJ, I feel like he could have been in there and just went right back
yeah,
if instead of Shinsuke, if Randy Orton had returned, I would have felt like, oh, he's there, could be
yeah.
winning. Um,
Oh, if Randy was
Jey
there,
Uso.
that's the only way this could feel bigger. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm shocked Randy did not. Well, I guess I don't know if he's injured or not, but I can't believe Randy did not return here
yeah,
with all these big names.
that was pretty shocking. But yeah, this whole back half was just aura. Just a ton of aura from all these people, stare downs, teasing so many future matchups. And I'm like, okay, there's so many. A lot of these guys are getting older. And I'm like, we need to get all of these in the next year. This needs to be the year of dream matches. We need Cena and Punk again. Need maybe Cena, Drew McIntyre, Cena, Roman again, Roman and Seth again, AJ versus everybody. We need all these matches now. Um, but yeah, and even one of them, it was an entrance, and then they came in, and they kind of had to stare down. And then the next entrant came on. I'm like, not even one move was delivered. It's just all focused on these stare downs, these characters that are so larger than life. And I think this one had a similar spot to the women's where it eliminated, because all that was left was giant contenders. It eliminated a lot of them in a short period of time. I think Logan Paul had a cool spot where he kind of jumped to the announce table. I'm like, I don't know how you can trust yourself to risk missing this jump and eliminating yourself. But he knows how to do it. He somehow rarely ever messes up a spot. It is crazy to me. But then when he's coming back into the ring, he screws AJ Styles out of the match as he's trying to deliver a phenomenal forearm, pulls him off, eliminates him off over the rope, and then we get Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins delivering all their finishers to different people. And another cinematic moment. It's got a shot of Seth Rollins' face and then just kind of zooms over behind him and it's Roman staring him down. And you're just going back to all of their history. Even in the last year, they've had a ton of history. In the last decade, they've had countless more events, huge events in the WWE happen with these two guys. And then they kind of start throwing hands and fighting just a one-on-one match. And they let their anger get the best of them because CM Punk surprises them and eliminates both of them at once. And it's like, oh my gosh, that was a huge moment and just perfectly executed. And then just when you think it's time to just take in this huge elimination, Logan Paul comes up behind CM Punk and flips him over. And that was the biggest shock of the night for me. And I wasn't angry about it. Even though I really wanted CM Punk to win, I thought he was the favorite. It was just handled so perfectly. And then we got a brawl between all three of those guys out on the outside of the ring. Just got me so excited for the future of this story. And I think that, like I said, I think it's in good hands. I think they're taken care of. I think they're going to have their WrestleMania moment, even though they didn't win.
And that's the one that I was talking about earlier. I think they're going to make this this one possibly a triple threat. If they probably wouldn't have two triple threats, so maybe Sammy, KO, Cody won't happen. But um, I'm worried about this being a triple threat, mostly because I'm like, I don't. For me, I don't know that that works or makes 100% sense. Having them at triple threats. I love them all being at WrestleMania, but I don't know that I want them all facing each other non-title. It
That's true.
just feels really weird. I get
That's
that
true.
their feud is with each other are kind of bigger than the title, so it doesn't need the title. But at the same time, just seems a little weird that they would be in a triple threat. So it's going to be interesting to
Yeah.
see what they do with that. But if it's just a triple threat, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see. And then it ends up being John Cena and Jey Uso as the final two, and they both get over the top rope on the apron. I love those spots. It's so edge of your seat inducing. And Cena takes the super kick and just holds onto the rope and hangs off his one leg swinging. It was one of the best near eliminations I've ever seen. And Jey Uso gets out of an attitude adjustment and pushes Cena off the ropes for the win, which at this point I've come to think Jey has a real shot, but that was still really surprising.
But yeah, when John Cena kind of sold that fall out of the ring, which I would argue was one of the best sells of kind of a, at least for John Cena, who has gotten very goofy in his old age in some ways. Like it didn't look like, oh my gosh, he's overacting. Ever since he went to Hollywood, his acting has become worse in the WWE ring somehow. But when he did that, I was like, maybe he will win because, yeah, definitely thinking back to what you had said in our predictions, it gave me uh, kind of shivers to my spine that we hadn't gotten Jay in the first two, and now we've got this weird final three of Logan Paul, John Cena, and Jay Uso. Like, what does it benefit John Cena to eliminate these two buffoons, kind of thing? So it was like, this could definitely be Jay's moment, which I did not love. And like I said, the star power in this match, it just I feel like it kind of killed, especially since the three top star power, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, had just like it's like the match had stopped in the ring, and the cameras are just focused on the outside of the ring. These three fighting, beating the hell out of each other, looking like the ladder match from earlier, and yeah, double stomping Roman. I think he's out. Who knows how long? They say. I don't know that he's actually out, but we will see. And yeah, I feel like that overshadowed kind of the last three. It made them kind of all seem like goofballs left. I don't know. So I guess it's great that the biggest goofball of the three of them, and we were even including John Cena in this, ended up winning. You don't get much more goofball than him, but
You don't.
yeah.
Yeah, that I could see that. Just the weight was kind of removed once. Those that serious hatred between those three guys was kind of removed from the Rumble. The drama was still there, but it just wasn't as heavy. And overall, I would say this Rumble had more spots than the Women's Rumble. I think the Men's Rumble is better than the Women's Rumble. More memorable moments and
Yeah,
just
we didn't even talk about one of the main guys wrecking house here, Jacob Fatu.
oh yes. Oh, Fatu.
I'm actually
Fatu.
surprised he only had four eliminations there. It's actually a
Um,
little surprising to me because it really seemed like he was doing more than that. And it seemed like he had a pretty good rumble showing.
yeah, that's true. Surprised he didn't go a little longer, but I guess they're setting up more with Braun Strowman. Yeah, Fatu. Oh, yeah, when they had Fatu and Roman staring down, a stare down that they've done a couple times before, it just feels like the first time. Every time you see them and you get so excited. And Michael Cole even said this is a future WrestleMania main event, and I'm glad they see it that way because that's how I see it. I really want to see. Obviously, Roman continued to be at the top, and Jacob Fatu to make his way there. So can't wait for that one.
Mhm. Yeah, can't remember if there were any other. There's potential Drew Damian Priest setup. Don't love that. Don't love that.
He already fought. He cashed in on him and he fought him. I forgot about that, and I'm like, they did fight. They had a rematch, I think, because Punk screwed him out of getting his title back. And I'm like, you've already fought. Why are we doing this again?
Yeah, I don't know what I thought about that, and I'm actually this doesn't feel right that it says there that Drew had zero eliminations. Wow, I would if you'd have told me to guess, I would. I think guessing zero eliminations would
Seth
have been
Rollins
a
had
tough
zero.
call for me.
My goodness.
That's
Dang.
kind of surprising too, but
Yeah.
you know, wow.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall, great Rumble match and just divisive winner. I think that if it's going to be soured, it's only going to be by the winner choice. Everything else was solid with this one. Overall, as a show, Women's Rumble was great, other than, of course, divisive winner and one absolutely terrible spot with Nia Jax eliminating all the talent. And good tag team match, going to be forgotten. Classic ladder match. I would say this Rumble probably an 8 at least for me. It doesn't just because of the winners not being instant, like yes, reaction from me. I think that holds it back a little bit. Jey Uso could be improved on depending how they build his story to WrestleMania. But right now, I think it's sitting at a solid 8 because the action was phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd probably come in right around there. I think I agree. It was a pretty solid show from beginning to end. I don't know. Yeah, outside of the winners, don't know that it was a bad thing. But yeah, it is funny. Who knows how we would have interacted if John Cena was like, oh, it's just obvious. Um,
Yeah.
so it could have been kind of received negatively either way. But I don't know. Like in a way, it's kind of like it's kind of sad that Cena didn't win because I don't know. Like even though he was like maybe one of the top favorites to win, it was kind of like one of those times where it's like, I'm fine with it. Let it happen because it's
Yeah.
this sold as his last year. It's like okay, I guess doesn't really make sense considering his one time he showed up this year already. He had kind of brought up the fact that he hadn't won in like as long as Roman Reigns had been champion, kind of thing, pretty much like thousands of days, hadn't had a win. So kind of weird to think then, oh, yep, goes in and wins the Royal Rumble. Although that's a different style of match. So
Yeah.
just because he can't win a normal match doesn't mean he can't win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's yes, yeah, it hasn't hit me too much, but I mean, that's the last Rumble we are ever seen. John Cena enter, unless he does come back, and this is all a work, and it wasn't his retirement tour, but I think he's probably going to be done. So at least he did. He did. He got a few moments in there.
And he had the opportunity after the show to put himself into the Elimination Chamber, even though in his speech he also made it sound like, just because he's John Cena doesn't mean he just gets to call the shots around here. He doesn't just say, I get a title match, I get a title. And yet he puts himself in Elimination
Hey,
Chamber.
he's not giving himself a title match. He's giving himself a title qualification match. But yeah, I don't know what that's about. If that's maybe teasing a little bit of cutthroat Cena coming out here, or if it's just simply because he's going to film a movie and he's like, I ain't gonna have time to get a qualification match for this chamber. I'm guessing that's probably more what it is. So they're like, well, let's just have him use his pull rank and get in the match.
Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't really think about that, but it probably means he will not be on television up until Elimination Chamber. You are probably 100% right with that. Because, yeah, why else would they have him do that? Why not? If he was going to be on a Raw, why not just have him qualify?
Yeah, so far.
Although, then I guess that would be his first win in years. So it's like,
True.
what do you make that first win?
That's true. That
Just
is,
a random match on Raw?
yeah. Oh, John Cena versus Finn Balor. Oh my goodness, he won. Wow. Yeah, that's probably true. It. I'm okay with it now. It is best to be saved for. Although I don't even know if he's going to win the chamber.
I don't
Um,
think he's going
I
to.
don't know what they're going to do with him. He might not win a single match all year. Um,
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to book his year here. It will be interesting because yeah, if he just loses all the matches, it's not really that interesting.
Then he keeps getting championship matches.
But yeah, if he doesn't win this, and he's not going for a title at WrestleMania, I don't really know who you have him face and for what reason.
He eliminated Logan Paul. Logan Paul talked about wanting a Cena WrestleMania match. I don't know if
I
uh,
guess we kind of talked about Joe Hendry. Even they did not interact in the Rumble. They should have had them. If he was going to battle him at WrestleMania, or because they've got
pretty
the
cool.
TNA partnership or whatever, then I probably would have had them interact at least a tiny bit.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's plenty of time.
That'd be cool. Yeah. So that
Although they had him and Sheamus interact, could Sheamus face Joe Hendry?
Sheamus got to get the Intercontinental Championship. It's got to be Sheamus Braun Breaker.
Uh, that's another match we've had a million times.
That's true, and it's always a banger.
It is a banger. Sheamus always putting on the bangers. Uh, but yeah, so it was a good show. And yeah, let us know in the comments below if you've made it this far, what you thought of it. We appreciate it if you subscribe, thumbs up, and yeah, otherwise we hope to see you on the next one. We might do, like I said, WrestleMania predictions or something coming up here, and uh, yeah, we'll probably do the same predictions, whatever, for Elimination Chamber whenever that pops up in a
Yes.
few weeks. I think it's 3 weeks,
I think it's the first of whatever the next month is. Is it?
1st of March.
Yep, I think so. Oh, that's so far away.
February is a short month.
That's true.
So, yeah. It, otherwise, yeah, we appreciate you watching. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on that popcorn.